Spec Ops franchise is one of those franchises that either you heard of it, haven't heard of it, or you don't think you've heard of it and it sounds familiar. After 10 years since its latest release in 2002, Spec Ops The Line finally uncovers itself. The developer Jaeger Development took a number on trying to update the tactical shooter genre by adding a bit of conventions that games contain today, like non-linear storyline choices and usable hazardous environments. Many of those non-linear choices lead to events that could either help or hurt the rest of the game's direction and characters, much like in games as basic and large as The Elder Scrolls, to as complex and closed like Mass Effect. The in-game decisions dig a hole. It either hurts, bleeds, or prolongs an event in this game. A main point in this game is the story that is masked deep in the sand of truth and lie.
What's your status?
Status is chafed, sir.
You say chafe, Sergeant?
Yes, sir. A local airborne insurgency has infiltrated the U.S. zone designated as my pants.
When dropped in Dubai, for some reason, you immediately feel as though you've actually entered the Uncharted games. The game world looks really open, really real, and really freaking hot. Unfortunately, the game's dated graphics can shortly take up some of the atmosphere, and its textures can lag a bit during very elaborate scenes, both in gameplay and cutscene sequences. Even the bright orange coloring can get a bit annoying.
Welcome to Dubai, gentlemen.
The game's scenery leaves a lasting impression of what the world looks like after humans are gone, and what a very hateful impression of not wanting to look at sand ever again. The art style in the game goes from typical action end of the world to insane throughout the beginning and end. Overall, it gives a great, gritty, dark, and loss of life in a grand, non-perfect, but effective style in post-apocalyptic Dubai.
It's quaint, very post-apocalyptic.
When one hears the words tactical shooter, they think of Battlefield and Ghost Recon. Then everyone points fingers and laughs at Call of Duty. The gameplay is not as tactical as one might think. It's a third-person cover-based, tell the guys to shoot this guy and stun these guys. The game does not even allow the player to direct an area for your squad mates to go. Instead, you may find them running up to enemies and getting themselves knocked down and bleeding out. The cover system is also needed of improvement. The fact that it sticks a bit can cause the character to die, even when either trying to get in cover or while you're in it. The AI can be very unpredictable, which is hard to determine if that's a bad thing or not. After all that, there is not much new except the fun use of sand. The sand can be used to kill, stun, and distract those crazy, unpredictable enemies. Grenades can even kick up a lot of sand to even utilize as a stun. Shooting certain weak points can break open and cause little sand avalanches. Don't forget the occasional blinding sandstorm too.
Adios.
At the beginning of the game, a whole lot of nothing happens, except sarcastically funny dialogue between the characters and then encounters with not so friendly, high caliber locals. Not to mention that they are too easy and almost pitiful to kill. Well, just wait, then the enemies become extremely well trained. Being as the vaulting button is stuck toward the melee button, it makes you feel very sorry for the cover that just saved your life, or just gets you mad because you hit the cover instead of jumping at an enemy. This game also features more realistic looking execution than from Gears of War, but just as brutal. The game's difficulty will quickly go from boringly easy to God have mercy upon your soul. And that's the only second difficulty of the game. All that aside, it's loads of fun, it's a good challenge for a typical shooter fan, not forgetting about the wonderful choices you have to make. One choice in a video game is supposed to make you feel better, but none of these do. You think you're trying to save people, but in the end, you must save yourself.
Wait, this isn't right!
Well, it's too late now!
No, I mean, we did this already!
What do you mean?
Is this another multiplayer game tacked on for more replay value? Unfortunately, yes it is. I wish this facade would just end. Multiplayer in this game is just the same as this in Gears. You can pack on different weapons and certain levels and upgrade your head and chest armor, but that's all you can customize, and that's lame. The only interesting and unique part of multiplayer is a game mode called Buried, where a team must take out the opposing team's base by destroying vital points that make their base fill up with sand and effectively ending it. Each match will have at least 2 sandstorms that either prevent or provoke camping. It's still a good waste of time, but only if you want to play something new, but not very different. The basis of Spec Ops: The Line comes from the book Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, with no connection to the John Conrad in the game. That's with a K. This story shows the basic instincts of survival and what horrors it can lead to, and what sometimes our minds trick us into believing what it wants to see fit. The choices in this game just make the story go on a track, not affecting the ending at all. That's until you find out everything you need to know to make the ultimate choice at the end. That's what changes the ending. I won't go any further. It gets very interesting at the end. Is that Nathan Drake? No, it's just Nolan North, and he's awesome. He plays Martin Walker, the main protagonist of Spec Ops: The Line, and well, he is good. Plain as that. His character and the other characters are very well developed and act very real. This game, being a shooter, makes for a lot of yelling and close calls. They just get lucky sometimes, and then they just argue profusely. But that's to be expected. We're human. Each character transforms during the course of the game, and they make it very prevalent by their battle-scarring bodies. They become tattered and torn, both inside and out. This game makes anyone glad that they are where they are while playing it. Be thankful that at this time you're at least watching this review and or playing this game. Someone has it way worse off. This game sets a standard for storyline in typical looking shooters. Let's hope this is another step toward the next generation of gaming. Spec Ops: The Line takes everything we thought we knew about a typical any kind of game and turns it around and messes with your head, teaching you to think for yourself and help yourself survive this world, and only then can you help others survive it too. This game is worth the rent to experience and play for a really different story and style. If you're a sucker for a good shoot 'em up and a really great story, get it. Playing this game a second time just gives you the chills because then you know everything. It's like watching Lost after seeing the last season. Spec Ops: The Line earns 5 dusty eggs out of 6.
And you will tell me what happened to John Conrad.
There is a line men like us have to cross.